Just a fly in the ointment, Hans. The monkey in the wrench.
Before it became the ultimate Christmas not Christmas movie, Die Hard was a gamble. A mid-budget action flick starring a TV actor, directed by a first-time blockbuster filmmaker, and set mostly inside one building. Nobody expected it to change the action genre forever. But from casting chaos to accidental stunts, Die Hard turned a risky script into movie history. Here are 30 strange facts about Die Hard, the film that made explosions emotional and Christmas deadly. Fact 1. Bruce Willis was paid $5 million, a shocking sum for 1988. At the time, Bruce Willis was best known for the romantic comedy show Moonlighting. So when 20th Century Fox offered him $5 million to play John McClane, Hollywood thought it was insane. Most major stars earned less than half that. But the studio believed Willis could bring a new kind of hero to the screen. Vulnerable, sarcastic, and human. That gamble paid off. Die Hard made over $140 million worldwide, turning Willis into a global superstar. The once risky paycheck became one of the smartest investments in film history. But Willis wasn't the studio's first, or even 10th, choice to play the role. Fact 2. Nearly every action star turned it down, even Sinatra. Before Bruce Willis crawled through the vents, the role of John McClane was offered to almost every major action star of the 1980s. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, Clint Eastwood, even Burt Reynolds. All passed. They thought the concept, one man trapped in a skyscraper, felt too small. The strangest offer went to Frank Sinatra, who starred in The Detective, 1968, the film adaptation of the earlier book in the same series. By contract, Sinatra had to be offered the role first. At 70, he graciously declined. Only then did Bruce Willis step in and redefine what a movie hero could be. Even the building that made McClane a legend has a story of its own. Fact 3. Nakatomi Plaza was 20th Century Fox's real headquarters. That skyscraper wasn't a set. It was Fox Plaza, the real headquarters of 20th Century Fox in Los Angeles. The studio literally blew up parts of its own building to film the action. Employees worked there by day, while crews shot at night. The unfinished upper floors used in the movie were genuinely under construction, which helped cut costs. Today, the tower is one of LA's most famous filming locations. Every December, fans still show up dressed as McClane to take pictures, celebrating the strangest office building in movie history. And speaking of destruction, the studio shattered more than egos on that set. Fact 4. Filmed during long winter nights in Los Angeles. Die Hard was filmed almost entirely in Los Angeles between November 1987 and March 1988, with most scenes shot overnight to match the film's dark, claustrophobic mood. The winter schedule meant the cast and crew worked through cold nights, often rapping as the sun rose over Century City. The relentless night shoots gave Die Hard its signature gritty realism, and left everyone on set as tired as John McClane himself.
You won't hurt me.
Oh yeah? Why not?
Fact 5. Alan Rickman's fall was real, and so was his shock. When Hans Gruber plummets from Nakatomi Tower, that terrified look on Alan Rickman's face isn't acting, it's genuine fear. To get the perfect reaction, the stunt team told him they'd drop him on the count of 3, then released him at 1. Rickman fell 30 feet onto an airbag, giving the camera that unforgettable, startled expression. It was Rickman's first feature film role, and it instantly made him a legend. His real-life fear turned Hans Gruber's death into one of cinema's most iconic villain exits. Fact 6. Bruce Willis wore rubber bare feet. John McClane's bloody, barefoot dash across broken glass wasn't quite as reckless as it looked. To protect Bruce Willis, the props team designed rubber shoes molded to look like his feet, complete with fake toes. They let him run safely over sharp debris and hot set lights. In some shots, the shoes are visible, an unintentional Easter egg for die-hard fans who pause at just the right moment. For Willis, it was a relief. For viewers, it was agony that looked all too real. And to sell McClane's exhaustion, even his wardrobe had to fall apart piece by piece. Fact 7. McClane wore 17 different undershirts. That grimy, sweat-soaked tank top? It's actually 17 different shirts, each one distressed to show McClane's escalating chaos. The costume department tracked the timeline down to every bullet hole and bloodstain, ensuring continuity across the film's wild night. By the final act, the once white shirt had turned a permanent shade of brown, now so iconic it's displayed in film museums around the world. While Willis suffered through wardrobe changes, Alan Rickman got a crash course in Hollywood danger. Literally. Fact 8. Alan Rickman's gun scene made him flinch. Alan Rickman had never fired a gun before Die Hard. During his first shootout scene, the noise and muzzle flash startled him so much he visibly flinched in every take. Director John McTiernan loved it. It made Hans Gruber's composed villainy seem just a bit more human. Rickman later joked that the film taught him two things: how to act terrified while pretending not to be, and how to duck without blinking. But not all the chaos came from the actors. Some came from the crew's exhaustion. Fact 9. The crew nearly quit from overwork. Filming Die Hard was grueling. Night shoots at Fox Plaza often ran past dawn, and the endless gunfire and explosions took a toll on everyone. Crew members reportedly started wearing earplugs between takes just to preserve their sanity. Director John McTiernan pushed for realism, which meant longer hours and fewer breaks. Some team members threatened to walk off set before the studio stepped in to adjust schedules. The intensity you see on screen wasn't just acting, it was exhaustion caught on film. But despite the chaos, Die Hard gave birth to one of cinema's most beloved catchphrases, a line Bruce Willis made up on the spot. Fact 10. The truth behind Yippee-Ki-Yay. Everyone thinks Bruce Willis made it up on the spot, but that's only half true. The line Yippee-Ki-Yay was already in the script, written by Stephen E. D'Souza as a nod to old cowboy shows like Roy Rogers. But when Willis filmed the scene, he added his own twist, the mother effer part, just to crack up the crew. The audience loved it so much in test screenings that the studio kept it in, and just like that, a playful ad-lib turned into one of the greatest action movie lines ever. The perfect mix of humor, grit, and attitude that defined John McClane forever. Fact 11. The German terrorists weren't actually speaking German. In Die Hard, Hans Gruber's crew is introduced as elite German terrorists, but the language they're speaking isn't German at all. Most of the dialogue is nonsensical gibberish, loosely based on German-sounding words. When real German audiences watched the film, they were confused and amused, noting that the phrases made no sense whatsoever. After complaints from European distributors, later home releases redubbed some lines with real German to make the characters more believable. But in a way, the fake language added to the film's surreal charm, proof that authenticity sometimes takes a back seat to cinematic rhythm. And if you thought the accents were inconsistent, the script's origins were even stranger. Fact 12. Die Hard was based on a novel and a sequel to a Sinatra film. Long before Bruce Willis crawled through air vents, the story began as a 1979 novel titled Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. It followed an aging detective trapped in a skyscraper after terrorists seize it during Christmas Eve. The book was actually a sequel to Thorpe's earlier novel, The Detective, which had been turned into a 1968 film starring Frank Sinatra. Because of that connection, Sinatra was contractually required to be offered the role first when Die Hard went into development. He declined, paving the way for an entirely new take on the hero. Younger, flawed, and funny. That unlikely chain of events turned Pulp Fiction into a modern Christmas legend. And that legend was filmed in a building that wasn't Hollywood make-believe. It was the studio's real home. Fact 13. Fox let them blow up its own building. That towering Nakatomi Plaza wasn't a set. It was 20th Century Fox's own headquarters, known as Fox Plaza. The studio let the crew use the building during off hours, meaning that every explosion, gunfight, and helicopter shot happened right on company property. The top floors were still under construction, so the filmmakers leaned into that unfinished look, using exposed beams and raw cement to add realism. In an ironic twist, Fox charged itself rent for using the building, a Hollywood bookkeeping trick that made destruction part of the business model. And amid the explosions and chaos, even the wardrobe told a story, one of grit, blood, and exhaustion. Fact 14. McClane's shirt tracked his descent into hell. John McClane's dirty undershirt wasn't a single prop. It was 17 versions of the same tank top, each dirtier and bloodier than the last. The wardrobe team meticulously aged each one to match McClane's night of survival, marking when he crawled through vents, walked on glass, or dodged explosions. By the end, the shirt had turned nearly brown, symbolizing McClane's physical and emotional breakdown. The costume became so iconic it was later displayed in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, proof that sometimes the grimiest wardrobe tells the cleanest story. But the film's true secret weapon wasn't its star or explosions. It was a villain who almost didn't exist. Fact 15. Alan Rickman nearly quit during filming. Die Hard was Alan Rickman's first movie, and he wasn't sure he belonged in an action film. Coming from the British stage, he initially thought the script was silly and the action scenes absurd. During his first week, he injured himself performing a stunt and nearly backed out of the project. But once cameras rolled, his blend of charm and menace redefined the movie villain archetype. His Hans Gruber became so magnetic that critics called him the best part of the film. Ironically, the man who almost walked away from Die Hard ended up anchoring its legacy. Coming next, facts 16 to 20, where the explosions get bigger, the trivia gets stranger, and we uncover how Die Hard quietly changed the future of every action film that followed. Fact 16. The movie's stunt team was pushed to the edge. Die Hard's relentless realism came at a price. Its stunt team was pushed to the physical and mental limit. The film's action scenes were shot practically, meaning explosions, gunfire, and glass stunts were done live, often multiple times. Willis's stunt double, Dick Zeiker, was injured more than once during production, including one shot where a blank round fired too close to his face. Director John McTiernan insisted that audiences could feel the pain of every hit, and the crew delivered, often working 14-hour nights to get it right. Their dedication gave Die Hard its raw energy, turning stunts into storytelling and pain into authenticity. But while the stunt team risked everything, the cast itself wasn't spared from danger either. Fact 17. Bruce Willis suffered permanent hearing loss. Years after Die Hard, Bruce Willis revealed that the film's gunfire sequences left him with partial hearing loss in one ear. The machine guns used in the confined hallways of Fox Plaza were so loud that even with ear protection, the sound reverberated through the set. One scene, where McClane fires under a table, permanently damaged his eardrum. Willis later joked that the ringing never stopped, calling it his souvenir from Nakatomi Plaza. It's one of those rare cases where a movie injury became part of a legend that never quieted down. And while Willis walked away with a scar, one of his co-stars got an equally lasting gift, a career that almost never started. Fact 18. Alan Rickman's Hollywood career began at 41. Before Die Hard, Alan Rickman was a respected stage actor in London with zero film experience. He almost turned down the role of Hans Gruber, thinking an action movie wasn't serious enough. But his performance changed everything. Overnight, he became one of Hollywood's most in-demand villains, though he never played another one quite like Gruber. Rickman later said he didn't realize Die Hard would be so loved. "I thought it was just another thriller," he told an interview. "Then I saw people laughing in all the wrong places, and I realized it was something else entirely." And that mix of violence and humor wasn't an accident. It came from the director's strange vision for tone. Fact 19. McTiernan didn't want a comedy. He wanted fun. It's not true that director John McTiernan set out to make Die Hard a comedy, but he did transform it from a dark political thriller into something more playful and human. The original script, adapted from Roderick Thorpe's novel Nothing Lasts Forever, was grim, full of cold terrorism and tragedy. McTiernan turned the project down twice, calling it too mean-spirited. When he finally agreed, he made a bold demand: change the terrorists into thieves, make it a heist, and inject humor into the chaos. Casting Bruce Willis, a TV comedian, sealed that lighter tone. Working with writer Stephen E. D'Souza, McTiernan built a film full of wit, irony, and heart. Not a comedy, but an action movie that smiled through the gunfire. And amid all that comedy and chaos, one small detail on set became the unsung star of the movie's realism: the lighting. Fact 20. Cinematography made the building feel alive. Cinematographer Jan de Bont, who later directed Speed, shot Die Hard with a revolutionary sense of movement. Instead of static shots, he used handheld cameras, low angles, and constantly shifting light to make the skyscraper feel alive. Part trap, part character. The flickering fluorescent lights, steam vents, and reflections off glass created a claustrophobic tension rarely seen in action films of the time. The look inspired countless imitators and became the visual blueprint for modern high-rise thrillers. In Die Hard, even the building was a character: bright, menacing, and impossible to escape. Coming up next, facts 21 to 25, where we dig into holiday controversies, music tricks, and the hidden symbolism that turned Die Hard into an unexpected Christmas tradition.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho.
Fact 21. Die Hard became a Christmas movie by accident. Director John McTiernan never meant for Die Hard to become a Christmas classic. Audiences made it one. The film was released on July 15, 1988, in the middle of summer, with the holiday setting chosen simply to contrast the violence. McTiernan said he wanted a movie about a working man facing off against corporate greed, and Christmas offered the perfect backdrop of irony: cheer against chaos, goodwill against gunfire. But over time, fans embraced it as a holiday tradition. The snowless Christmas Eve setting, the family reunion plot, and even Let It Snow playing over the credits gave it a strange festive charm. As McTiernan later admitted, the joy that came from it is what turned it into a Christmas movie. Fact 22. Beethoven's Ode to Joy was Hans Gruber's theme. The triumphant tune Hans Gruber hums isn't random. It's Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Composer Michael Kamen chose it to underscore the villain's glee as he cracks the vault. The same melody swells again when the locks finally open, turning classical music into a criminal anthem. Kamen later said he used Beethoven's piece because it had the right mix of sophistication and menace. It became so iconic that later Die Hard sequels brought the theme back whenever chaos began. But not every sound was as elegant, especially the gunfire that gave the film its signature tension. Fact 23. The gunfire was real, and so was the damage. The gunfire in Die Hard wasn't movie magic. It was real. Director John McTiernan wanted authenticity, so the crew used modified real weapons firing extra loud blanks created by weapons master Michael Papak. The blanks were so powerful that every burst echoed through the hallways of Fox Plaza, making the set sound like a war zone. The noise was deafening, and even seasoned actors flinched from the blasts. You can see Alan Rickman recoil slightly in some shots. But the biggest casualty was Bruce Willis himself. During the scene where McClane fires from under a table, a blank went off too close to his ear, leaving him with permanent hearing loss in his left ear. A real scar from Hollywood's loudest Christmas party. And no, the gunfire didn't drown out dialogue. Most of it was re-recorded later through ADR, standard in big productions. Fact 24. The "Welcome to the party, pal" line was unscripted. Bruce Willis improvised McClane's shout, "Welcome to the party, pal," after detonating an explosion. The line wasn't in the script, but McTiernan loved it so much he kept it. It perfectly captured McClane's mix of exhaustion, sarcasm, and survival instinct. The phrase became one of the movie's defining moments and helped shape McClane's voice as the anti-hero who never loses his sense of humor, even when everything's on fire. And when it came time for that fiery finale, the effects team went above and beyond, literally. Fact 25. The helicopter explosion was movie magic, not mayhem. Contrary to legend, Die Hard didn't blow up a real helicopter over Fox Plaza. The spectacular rooftop explosion was a miniature masterpiece created by special effects studio Boss Film. A detailed model of the skyscraper's top floors was built in a parking lot, complete with pyrotechnics and a radio-controlled helicopter flown into it for destruction. Effects wizard Richard Edlund then composited that footage with shots of the real Fox Plaza and live helicopter flyovers filmed safely at a distance. As for Bruce Willis, his part of the stunt was real. He leapt 25 feet off a 5-story structure onto an airbag as a timed explosion erupted behind him. The rest was pure Hollywood illusion, proof that miniature magic can outshine CGI even decades later. Fact 26. The writers knew it would work, because it had heart. It's often said the writers didn't believe Die Hard could succeed, but that's false. From the start, Jeb Stuart and Stephen E. D'Souza knew they were crafting something special, an action movie with real emotion. Stuart found his inspiration after a fight with his wife and a long, regret-filled drive home. That moment of vulnerability became the heart of John McClane's story, a man trying to fix his marriage while fighting for his life. The skyscraper setting wasn't a limitation, it was a deliberate choice to trap both the action and emotion in one place. Later, D'Souza refined the script, adding humor and grit to balance the intensity. Together, they built a story that worked because it wasn't just about explosions. It was about love, fear, and redemption. The emotional stakes make Die Hard more than an action film. It made it human. Fact 27. Bruce Willis filmed Moonlighting by day, Die Hard by night. During early filming, Willis was still starring in his hit TV show Moonlighting. He'd shoot all day on one set, then rush to Fox Plaza to film McClane's night scenes. The grueling schedule nearly broke him, but it added to McClane's weary energy, a man running on fumes. Willis later joked that he was sleep-deprived for art, and you can see that exhaustion written all over his performance. Fact 28. Reginald VelJohnson became Hollywood's favorite cop. After Die Hard, Reginald VelJohnson became so closely tied to police roles that fans joked he just changed precincts. His breakout as Sergeant Al Powell in Die Hard led directly to Family Matters, where he played Chicago cop Carl Winslow for 9 seasons. He'd already worn a badge in Ghostbusters, and later did it again in Turner and Hooch, even reprising that role decades later for Disney+. Though he's played many other parts, VelJohnson embraced his legacy, even spoofing it in commercials. Some actors chase range. He built a career on reliability. Fact 29. Die Hard changed action movies forever. Before Die Hard, action heroes were invincible. Think Rambo or Commando. John McClane was different, flawed, funny, and constantly in pain. He bled, limped, and doubted himself. That vulnerability became the new blueprint for action heroes in the 90s and beyond. From Speed to The Rock, every guy in over his head movie owes a little something to Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Fact 30. A $28 million movie that made $140 million. Die Hard cost about $28 million to make and earned over $140 million worldwide, becoming one of 1988's biggest hits. Critics hailed it as the thinking man's action film, and audiences couldn't get enough of McClane's one-liners. It spawned 4 sequels, a legion of imitators, and an eternal debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Whether you say yes or no, it remains one of the most beloved action films ever made. In the end, Die Hard wasn't just a skyscraper shootout, it rewired action movies. It gave us a hero who bleeds, a villain who smiles as he falls, and a holiday argument that never ends. From Fox Plaza to the helicopter fireball, from "Welcome to the party, pal" to "Yippee-ki-yay," it turned explosions into emotions and made Christmas a little more dangerous. 30 facts later, one truth stands tall. John McClane didn't just save the hostages, he saved the genre. This is Strange Flick Facts, where we uncover the bizarre truths behind your favorite films. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more strange stories from the world's most unforgettable classics. And hey, yippee-ki-yay! See you in the next one.